Well, we're running a Phase I/II study in glioblastoma patients called GLORIA. The study's evolved over time, but essentially we're testing the safety and the efficacy of NOX-A12, our lead asset, in newly diagnosed glioblastoma patients, in combination with radiotherapy, which is part of the standard of care for this indication. We're also testing NOX-A12 in combination with radiotherapy and bevacizumab, the biosimilar of Avastin from Roche. This combination of NOX-A12 plus bevacizumab blocks both main ways of rebuilding blood vessels that are destroyed by the standard of care radiotherapy: vasculogenesis by NOX-A12 and angiogenesis by bevacizumab. The data that were just published at the Society for Neuro-Oncology earlier this month in November were an update of the treatment of 6 patients that received this triple combination of NOX-A12, radiotherapy, and bevacizumab. So, what are the key points that came out of this study? First, all the tumor lesions that were targeted by the combination of radiation, NOX-A12, and bevacizumab shrank by more than 50%. That's a 100% rate of radiologic partial response. Second, 2 patients achieved more than 99% shrinkage of their tumors, based on the data cutoff at November 1st. While this is not a complete response, it's very close, and complete response is, of course, the goal of therapy. 5 out of the 6 patients maintained partial responses over time. And this was according to the modified RANO criteria, which take into account things in addition to tumor shrinkage, such as the clinical state of the patients. Importantly, all 5 of these mRANO responders, as they're called, maintained neurological function, and the majority showed improved quality of life. The 6th and last patient that enrolled in the study, unfortunately, although they achieved control over the tumor that was targeted, they had a distant metastasis which was growing in their cerebrospinal fluid, and unfortunately this patient has now died. So, with a median follow-up of nearly 8 months, we have 83% of the patients in durable response. As such, we have not yet reached median progression-free survival, let alone median overall survival. As a reminder, the median overall survival projected for this population that we've enrolled in this study is about 10 months. In terms of radiologic tumor shrinkage of the main cancer lesion, what we saw in patients who received standard of care at the University of Bonn Hospital was that 25% of them achieved tumor shrinkage at some point during their treatment. We can compare that to 90% of patients when they received NOX-A12 plus radiotherapy, and 100% of patients who achieved tumor shrinkage when they received NOX-A12, radiotherapy, and bevacizumab. Now, if we go to the more stringent bar of partial response, which means more than 50% shrinkage of the tumor, then only 10% of the patients treated in the historical reference cohort with standard of care achieved this level of shrinkage. We had 40% of patients with NOX-A12 plus radiotherapy and 100% of patients with NOX-A12 plus radiotherapy plus bevacizumab. Now, 5 out of those 6 patients achieved and maintained the whole time we followed them up to the 1st of November, their RANO responses. And these are responses that require them not only to have the tumor remain shrunk, but also to remain in good clinical condition. Further, we also monitored their neurologic function, via the set of criteria called NANO, and their quality of life. And the majority of patients had an improvement in their quality of life parameters. I will mention that one patient who had a 99% shrinkage of their tumor elected after the 6 months of mandatory treatment to stop receiving therapy. This happens, and we have to respect the choice of the patient. There were some issues with the administration of the drug that caused inconvenience and discomfort for the patient. However, we're now at 8 months of follow-up with this drug, and we only have one patient who has progressed and died. So 5 out of 6 remain with a strong tumor response. 2 of them with more than 99% shrinkage of their tumor mass. So that makes us very confident that NOX-A12 plus radiotherapy plus bevacizumab will allow us to prolong the overall survival of glioblastoma patients with a good quality of life. Glioblastoma patients have one of the poorest prognoses of all solid tumors, and the subpopulation that we are treating in the GLORIA study that will not significantly benefit from the standard of care chemotherapy has an even more devastating prognosis. So we are dealing with patients that are very, very difficult to treat. The key for these patients is to survive longer with a good quality of life. And we expect to have data on the rate of 10-month overall survival for all the patients in Q1 of next year, along with quality of life parameters, and 12-month or 1-year overall survival rates, along with quality of life parameters in Q2 of next year. Once these data mature, we plan to talk to the regulators, the FDA in the US and the EMA here in Europe, and that will inform our strategy for the most rapid path to get this drug to patients on the market. As we noted in our half-year report that came out at the end of October, we currently have cash in the bank to take us into June 2023.